Hey everyone, welcome to the KE Report and a company update from Sitka Gold following up on recent drill result released last week, May 8th, from the RC Gold Project in the Yukon. Chatting with Mike Burke, Director and Vice President of Corporate Development at Sitka Gold. Company is traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol SIG, on the OTCQB under the symbol SITKF, and the Frankfurt Exchange 1RF. Now, Mike, that most recent news release, one hole reported, hole 76 from that Blackjack zone. This was a follow up from our last interview that was hole 75. That hole intercepted the highest grade, deepest gold intercept on the property. Looks like this hole 76 was drilled from the same pad, just on a different angle. So give us a bit of insights before we get into the results of what you were testing for in hole 76, please.
Yeah, you're right there. Hole 75 and 76 were the two holes that we completed as part of our winter drilling program. You know that we can drill year round up at the project. So we kind of got fired up in late February and drilled two holes in March, hole 75 and 76. 75 hit that 45 meters of 4.3 grams, a beautiful hit. And 76, same pad, just steepened up the angle to try and intersect this zone at depth. And so we hit two great intersections in there, 94 meters at a grade of 1.15 grams per ton, starting at 437 meters depth. And another hit a little deeper, at 580 meters, 86 meters of 1.65. And subintervals in there, because we're getting fairly deep in the deposit here, and we're looking at this underground higher grade potential. So in that upper interval, the 94 meters of 1.15 grams, there was 12.2 meters of 4.55 grams per ton within that. And the lower intersection at 591 meters depth, there was a subinterval of 25 meters of 5.04 grams per ton. So we're continuing to hit this high grade mineralization, deeper depths within the Blackjack. We really don't know. We've got four holes kind of probing the depths now to try and determine how deep does this thing go? What's its overall dimension? So we're just getting started on that with four holes. That's not a lot of holes down there, but we're extremely pleased with the results, obviously.
Mike, make sense of figure one for us then. It's the cross section, shows those results from hole 75 and now hole 76. Obviously, those results from hole 75 were really good. Hole 76, not quite the same results, but still those couple over 100 gram meter intercepts within that hole. Simplify what this all means then, expanding on that really good mineralization from 75 into hole 76 now.
Yeah, I mean, we're down there at depth. 76 didn't hit yet as much intrusive as we saw in 75. So the geology is changing down there. Not necessarily changing, we're stepping out from that other intersection. So it's really interesting. We did hit some nice sections of mineralization, high-grade mineralization within the metasediments with a lower volume of intrusive. But as you see in the assay table at the end, we hit about just under 5 meters of 0.8 grams per ton, almost 0.9 at the very bottom of the hole. So we were in weakly mineralized metasediments when we shut the hole down, had a bit change. Spring melt was starting, so it was a good time to stop. And lo and behold, when we got the assays back, that bottom 4.8 meters ran 0.86. So that's where we're extending the hole to keep it going at depth, and we'll see what remains to be seen way down there.
Mike, so far, is there a sweet spot that you're seeing in terms of a depth component where some of this higher grade or even longer intervals of gold mineralization are at?
Well, definitely hole 75. I mean, that 45 meters of, 4.5 grams per ton was a pretty sweet spot, but we're stepping out around it, trying to define that zone. So, you're not going to figure it out in four holes. We've got more holes planned in here. The zone is still open in all directions down there, so it's starting to get a bit of size to it. So we're pretty pleased with our results, kind of looking at this deep underground potential And then, of course, we've got lots of other closer to surface drilling to do within this area.
So with the deeper drilling, the follow up on this, and everything's a step out because again, you only have a couple holes down here. What's the plan in terms of step out distance then? Because again, hole 76 drilled from the same pad as hole 75. Any major step outs that are coming in this program?
Well, these step outs, they're pretty decent. We're on the range of 70-meter kind of step out from the last hole. These are 800-meter holes. So when you just change the angle a few degrees, it turns out to be a decent step out. So if we're looking at outlining a resource down there at the inferred level, say we're upgrading our resource, and those step outs in the kind of 70-meter range are puts us in that ballpark. So that's what we tend to shoot for. No more than 100 and not less than 50 kind of stepping out to try and define this zone and get an idea of what's going on at depth in this system because it's remaining really strong. We're seeing nice visible gold. We're seeing great grades. So yeah, it's a real interesting geological target to keep following up on at depth. Definitely in these reduced intrusion gold models, we're drilling some of the deeper holes that anybody's ever seen in the Yukon for sure.
So again, these were the first two holes from this 30,000 meter drill program that you have planned. You're back on site here. You're continuing this program after a bit of a pause. What can you tell us about the strategy, the timing of the four rigs that are planned to get back onto the RC project?
Yeah, so right now the one drill that was on that hole 76 is refired up and is deepening that hole. So that's ongoing. We've got other drill crews mobilizing in, second drill crews on site, I believe. So we'll start up the second drill and the third drill's not far behind it. And the fourth drill we're looking at later in the month. But yeah, so we're focused. We've got drills. We're planning 30,000 meters. 15,000 meters of that is in the northern part of the Clear Creek intrusive complex where we have the two deposits, the Blackjack and the Eiger. They're about 2 kilometers apart. Midway between them is the Saddle Zone. Saddle Zone's kind of within the projected pit limits of the Blackjack. So it has a pretty nice, a couple nice plus 100-gram meter drill holes in it, but no resource. So we're making those three drills start working up there where we have 15,000 meters of that 30,000 meters planned. And then as summer kind of returns to the Yukon, we'll start spreading out across the rest of the property. We have a myriad of targets. So we've got a great summer ahead of us with this 30,000 meters fully financed, $25 million in the bank. So yeah, we've got clear runway in front of us.
Mike, just remind everybody of some of these other targets. We've talked a lot about Blackjack, Eiger, the Saddle Zone. We have also outlined some of the other targets, some of which you had drill results from last year, but just remind my audience again, some of these other targets that don't currently have resources on them.
Yeah, there's in this Clear Creek intrusive complex, there's 9 intrusions in a 12 by 5 kilometer area. Last year, we did the initial 2 diamond drill holes on the Pukelman intrusion and 2 diamond drill holes on the Rosgobble intrusion. Those both hadn't seen drilling before. They'd seen drilling outside of the margins, and Rosgobble had seen some reverse circulation drilling way back in the mid 90s to very shallow depths. We did the first diamond drilling on them, had discovery holes plus 100-gram meters in both those areas. Then there's another number of intrusions, Josephine, Big Creek Stock, Barney Stock, that all have drill targets on them as well. But we're going to focus in on that area, Saddle Eiger and the Blackjack deposit, the Pukelman and the Rosgobble. So as summer progresses, we'll move those drills around and reach our target of 30,000 meters.
All right, Mike, thanks for the update here. Not much more to cover on these holes. I will post a link to the Sitka Gold website. Feel free to click that link, have a read over the recent 2 news releases, and send me any questions you have for Mike. I'll get him to address those personally and potentially on future interviews. Mike, I appreciate the update here. Please keep me up to date on more drill results when they start to trickle in from the restarted program.
Yeah, thanks very much, Corey. Good chatting.